Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini-episode, folks, today I have a couple of accounts with black-eyed people. From accounts with the black-eyed kids to this passenger in this car this courier was passing when he was on the open road, folks. It is incredibly spooky, folks, and well worth for this Halloween season. So let's get into the first article. Passenger with no eyes. Courier's terrifying encounter with a soul-draining Indy on the open road. Let's get into the full account now. Driving home from a routine hospital pickup, one courier locked eyes with a passenger who shouldn't have been there, pale, hollow-eyed, and in possibly shifting positions as if reality itself had bent. What followed was a chilling moment of slow-motion, soul-sucking darkness and a question that still haunts him. What exactly did he see? Let's get into his story now. A while back, I was working as a courier for a company which involved picking up specimens from the hospital. One morning, after completing my pickup, I was driving when I noticed a car going in the opposite direction. Inside the car was a woman with curly, wet brown hair, both hands firmly on the steering wheel at the 10 and 2 o'clock positions. As we crossed paths, we became parallel to each other, with her own on my left side and I on hers. Something compelled me to look over, and suddenly everything seemed to move in slow motion. That's incredibly terrifying, isn't it, folks? This sort of reminds me of various stories of people who pick up a person on the open road, a hitchhiker, and when they drive to the person's home, when they look back to the back seat where the passenger was, they're gone. This sort of sounds like that, folks, but it's, well, with two cars passing each other, but still, the human witness here sees something that leaves him shivering in fright. And I have to say, folks, from the description here, this could have been a black-eyed woman. She had no eyes, but maybe in reality, folks, they were basically just blacked out. Or maybe the woman here was wearing black contacts, because that also sounds like a feasible explanation here, folks. But there's something about it that basically gives me the chills that maybe this really was a paranormal encounter. Either way, let's finish off our friend's story here, folks, and, well, then we can theorize a bit more about it. I saw a person sitting next to her who hadn't been there before. It appeared to be a woman with very dark hair, pale white skin, and hollow eye sockets. As we passed each other, I thought, whoa, that's strange. I decided to make a U-turn to take a closer look. I stopped at the nearest traffic light, made the U-turn, and just as I did, the passenger was now on the other side of the street when we were again parallel. Everything slowed down again. The passenger with pale skin and dark hair turned to look at the driver, but it felt as if she were staring directly at me. She still didn't have any eye sockets, just large, dark, gaping holes. When she opened her mouth, all I could see was total darkness inside, and somehow it felt like she was trying to suck my soul. The slow motion effect broke, and I resumed driving, almost crashing into oncoming traffic. Reality hit me hard, and I realized I had just seen something I shouldn't have. The question is, what was that thing R? As I said, folks, it sounds like it was a black-eyed woman here, folks. But it could have been, well, something akin to a pale crawler, perhaps? Because they've also been described as having gaping holes where their eyes are supposed to be, folks. That is, if they have any facial features at all. But here, folks, this entity, maybe it was a woman with black contact lenses on, and she was trying to prank this man or anyone who basically looked at her. I would love to know if anyone else has ever come forward with a similar story like this, folks. It is incredibly odd and scary. So, was this a black-eyed woman, folks, or was it something else entirely, like a ghost? Either way, very terrifying. But let's move on to the next account. The night my family faced the black-eyed kids, a father's fear that still haunts me. Some encounters burn into memory, not because of what you saw, but because of how the people you trust reacted. When a hardened Army veteran's father trembled before two strange children at the door, it raised the question, what was really trying to get inside? Indeed, folks, that gives you the idea of what kind of encounter we're about to read through. That was a chilling opening. Let's get to the whole account now. I served in the Army from 2007 to 2012. I'm just a regular guy with a family and a house. I don't consider myself odd or weird, although my wife might have a different opinion. That's a story for another time. So we have the average man here, who's about to basically tell us, well, a very odd and unaverage story, folks. So that is, well, to be expected. That's how all these stories seem to basically begin, with an ordinary person encountering the abnormal. So let's hear the rest of his account and hear exactly what happened to presumably his father, folks. Recently, I was listening to your show and I vividly recalled an incident from when I was around 7 years old. 2 kids showed up at my house trying to convince my mom to let them in. They were about my age and didn't seem right. They were dressed oddly and spoke in a flat voice. I knew every kid on the 3 blocks around us, so I didn't recognize them at all. I remember trying to get a better look, but my mom kept pushing me aside, insisting, "You need to go to your room now." I ran to my room with my brother, and from there I could see the front door and around the corner, but they were gone. I heard my parents arguing whether to let the kids in, and my dad was against it, calling the police. My dad was adamant about not wanting them in the house, while my mom insisted he was crazy and that they were just children. That's when I heard my dad shout about their eyes. My mom replied that they didn't have black eyes. My dad is not someone you want to mess with. He's a massive guy, and even at over 60, you wouldn't dare cross him. For him to be that scared is unusual. But that's something we've heard about with other encounters with the black-eyed kids, folks. Big, strong men reduced to near tears at their presence. That's something we've seen also with other encounters with paranormal entities, from Bigfoot to aliens. People who think that they're sterner than stone, encountering something they can't understand and basically melting at the sheer fear that is presented to them with the appearance of these odd entities. Either way, I'm not surprised that the father acted this way, but here's the thing, folks. Remember, his wife said they had ordinary eyes, but he says that they were completely black. That's something we've seen before, folks, where someone sees something, but other people around them don't. So maybe these people, these entities, these black-eyed kids were affecting the father somehow. Maybe this is what they wanted. They wanted to scare him. Either way, let's continue with the article. Then I heard a loud bang against the window, followed by 3 or 4 knocks. I went back to the window, ready to lift the blinds to see what was happening, but my dad rushed in and shouted, "Don't let them in." He picked both my brother and me up and took us to the bathroom. I heard him yelling for them to leave, claiming he would defend his family and that he had weapons. About 5 minutes later, my dad came into the bathroom and took us out of the house for ice cream. He never speaks about that night, and whenever I bring it up, he falls silent and changes the subject. I assure you, this story is real. I'm not making it up. It's a shame, folks, that basically people like ours father won't open up more about their encounters with these incredibly bizarre entities. I think it's because they're so grounded in reality and beliefs that they refuse to believe in anything like the black-eyed kids, aliens, or even Bigfoot, folks. To them, it's anathema. So I'm not surprised that he's not talking about this and refuses to. But, folks, there's also a note, so let's read that as well. I often receive messages from people who regard the phenomena of black-eyed kids, BEK, as mere urban legends due to skepticism and a lack of tangible proof. Many assume the claims are fabricated or exaggerated. Urban legends are stories that cannot be traced to a specific person, place, or time. To be classified as an urban legend, a story must lack credible eyewitness accounts and cannot be verified. However, there have been numerous verifiable eyewitness accounts, often followed by interviews. Believe what you will, but these reports are not just urban legends. Indeed, I don't believe that they are either, folks. But what are these entities? Are they ghosts? And especially with the eyeless woman we basically first read about in the first article with that courier, folks. That eyeless, horrible thing sitting next to that woman in the car as he passed her. What do we make of it? I mean, it sounds to me that this black-eyed woman, which is what I'm going to refer to as, folks, to make it easier, was maybe some sort of spiritual entity. But then again, maybe there's more than one answer to this kind of, subject, folks. Perhaps some of these black-eyed entities are ghosts. Indeed, the same thing can be seen with basically shadow people, folks. Or maybe they're aliens. That is, if you believe there's any differences at all, folks. Some people think that aliens use the afterlife as a way to basically travel faster than light. That when they basically travel faster than light and travel from one planet to another, they're actually traveling between or beyond our universe. That universe is the afterlife. So maybe all of these subjects are related to each other in some manner. And this is where these black-eyed kids, aliens, and other supernatural entities reside and somehow cross over into our world, folks. Either way, very interesting. But we're at the end, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics That Are Bad For You. You can use the YouTube link down below in the descriptions of the chat to go subscribe to me. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Make sure to hit the part of the bell that'll give you all future notifications. And please share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video. So be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks. I'll see you all again soon.